August 6th, 3 p.m. We'll start the meeting. We'll have a public hearing first, proposal of the law to implement occupancy tax. Anybody here to speak towards that? Again, second call. Anybody here to talk to proposal of the law to implement occupancy tax? Last call, proposal of the law to implement occupancy tax. That will move on to the call to order, please.
Councilmember Scott is reported absent. Councilmember Silliman.
Here.
Councilmember Pinello.
Here.
Councilmember Lane.
Here.
Councilmember Thompson. Here. Councilmember Carpenter. Here. Councilmember Beckwith.
Present.
Councilmember Michaels.
Here.
You all rise to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag.
One nation. Indivisible.
Thank you. So a moment of reflection, I'd like to reflect on a couple citizens that impact the community in many different ways. Senator Jim Seward had passed, and Sister Harriet Hamilton, who was a great educator and great support in our community service in the community, very active. Both of them were great people who lost within days of each other, and certainly they'll be missed. So we have a moment of silence for them. Thank you. Truly, that's great people. Privilege of the floor. Mike Dexter.
Also would like to pay my respects to Sister Harriet, being an active member of St. Mary's Parish and a graduate of St. Mary's High School. Sister Harriet came to Portland in 1986. We were struggling a little bit at St. Mary's School. Sister Harriet put back on its feet. And for 22 years, she was the principal of St. Mary's School, and she stayed on for another 16 years, for a total of 38 years in the community. I don't think there's very many people in Portland who don't know of Sister Harriet. She was a strict disciplinarian and academic, and many people, it was commented, came from St. Mary's into the public schools. They always knew that those kids probably came from St. Mary's. Thank you to Sister Harriet. I'm here to represent the Landscape and Design Commission as chairman. As many of you know, you may have seen in the newspaper, we will be cutting down almost 100 ash trees in the city that become infected by the emerald ash borer over the last several years. The city has received a grant for $65,000, which will assist the city in taking those trees down. Some of the trees have been removed already by the DPW. The one thing that I'm encouraging people to do is, if you have an ash tree that's coming down, please consider planting another tree in its place. Right now, the only time we can plant trees in the cities right away is if the homeowner wants a tree. We would like to work on that to get that changed, because at some point we were taking down more trees than we were planting. And with these 100 ash trees coming down, you're going to see a huge void in a lot of the streets. One of them you'll be able to notice quickly is on Broadway between Tompkins Street and Warren Street. Most of the trees on the east side of the street are ash trees. They have deteriorated to the point where they are not very good looking, and they will be coming down. So that almost all that side of the street, trees will be removed. We've already got one owner, Alawi, who will be planting a tree next year in place of the tree that was taken down by the DPW. My commission has worked very hard to become a Tree City USA. We will be planting trees next year. We'll be taking applications, which I've given to all the aldermen and the mayor. Please canvass your wards. It's easier for you to go out. You've got mailing lists, I'm sure, of all the people in your ward. If you would just send out an email, let them know to apply for a tree. It's Portland.org trees on the city's website. I've given you a couple of the applications. Please make sure they get one. We're taking the applications. We would like to have them back in by the 1st of September so we can order the trees, so we can look at the locations to see whether we need tall trees or small trees, which is one of the things we do. Didn't used to be this way, but we planted the right tree in the right place. We're planting small trees underneath the Niagara Mohawk wires. You may see trees underneath wires, but the wires that they're being planted under are telephone, cable TV, and other secondary lines going into the houses. Nobody prunes those trees. So canvass your, people in your wards and try to get people to apply. If you don't get it this year, we will get you on a list to plant in the future. Well, hopefully, we're gonna have enough trees so everybody can get them. Any questions?
Yes. Do you have a map with the trees marked on it that will be taken down so we could target those
Well,
people in our wards?
We know where they're at. We have locations. The DPW has a list. That's what I say. They're working on taking them down. Several years ago, we went around and tagged all of the ash trees in the city. Probably 10 or 12 years ago, because we knew this little bug was coming into the city. So we did tag them. A lot of the people that are still in those houses know the trees, but if you look at a tree, it is deteriorated where half of it is still alive. You'll be able to see that those are the ash trees that are coming down. We thought we had this by this, but the little bugger came in and stopped here anyway, when we thought he was just gonna fly over and go someplace else where it was much more prosperous.
Mr. Dexter, the trees that you're placing, I heard, taller trees, shorter trees, which I think is great based on our city, layout. That said, what about the durability of the trees that you're planting? Are we only looking at more durable, sustainable trees that are adaptive, to the ash beetle?
Yes, we have, the ash tree was a tree that nobody knew when they planted it, that this little bugger was gonna be coming. It came on a pallet from China, probably, and the emerald ash borer got on it just like anything else. Kind of, 10 caterpillars. There's diseases today that weren't there 40, 50, 60 years ago that are killing our trees today, but yes, we have lists. We try to look and plant the best trees. We've got a list of 5 trees right now. Also, quickly, the city will be planting 67 trees on Main Street, it'll be the end of the landscaping. I've seen some of the work they're doing downtown. They're putting what's called structural soil into the soil, and they're putting retention to keep the weeds from growing up. I've seen them doing a lot of this down on Main Street, and we're trying to plant the right trees on Main Street. We have changed some of the trees that we were originally going to plant on Main Street because we have 2 arborists. And some of us on the tree commission know that a couple of the trees that they were gonna plant were not a good choice for Main Street. So hopefully, when the trees are done, Main Street's gonna look nice, the trees will help. That's the mayor's job to make sure that when we get to the point of putting trees in, that the rest of the street is adaptable to the trees. Yes.
Mike, so someone has spoken to the people on Broadway, on the east side of Broadway, that their trees are coming down and that they may ask for a new one? Or is
I'm
that
not sure
something
that it has to get a new one, but they're pretty sure the DPW had a list. Nick was in the process of processing that list. And I think most of the people know that the trees out in front of their house are emerald ash borer. You can throw that out when you send something out to your people in your ward. Just let them know that the ash trees that are in front of their house that are deteriorating will be coming down eventually. Either they're gonna fall down by themselves, and the city's trying to get them down before they become a hazard.
Okay,
So they will be contracting out. I'm sure the mayor can handle that as far as who they hire to spend the $65,000 to take the trees down.
okay, thanks, Mike.
I will notify everybody by district where those locations are.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mike, I've got one thing for you. Corner of Church and Port Watson Street. I noticed that you spent a lot of time there taking care of the rose bushes. Would you like to give us some history on that? We also want to thank you for taking it upon yourself.
The history on that rose garden is, the Landscape and Design Commission, when we first went into business 15 or 20 years ago, we saw a little void there. And Diane Batsing and myself, and I'm trying to think, Teresa Quayle were on the commission at the time. The roses that are there are knockout roses. They will blossom more than once. This year I tried to put a little bit of a contrast with the knockout roses because they blossom and then they don't blossom for a month or 2 months. So the flowers that I planted there, they're annuals, they won't come out, but I tried to make it a little bit more attractive going into that intersection with the white and the yellow, so.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, looks good.
Many people drive by there and notice that. I just. wanted
That's why we
to-
did it at that location, because it catches a lot of traffic off 11 and 13 and Port Watson. And the bricks that are there were bricks that came out of the wick wire last big fire on South Main Street. There are some bricks that are around the back. We'd like to do a little bit more. The one thing you guys can do, or the mayor can do, is we have a problem sometimes in the wintertime with the snow being pushed on it, and they took out several of the knockout roses by just going over it with a front end loader. and going right to the other side. So if they can be a little bit more careful, I'd like to see curbing around there. That would be another thing, Mr. Mayor. If we could put some concrete curbing around there, which would keep people from driving onto that particular area. There's also a sign there. I'm sure you don't have much to do with that. It's a DOT sign, no trucks. And that sign could be put in back of the Rose Garden by the telephone pole, which still could be seen. It would make that a little bit more attractive than to drive into that intersection, see the flowers and then see the no truck sign that's there. So if you can work on that, that would be a big help too.
Yeah, that's quite a list, actually.
That's why I'm here.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Mr. Chu?
Thank you. So I just wanted to request that the city give some more priority to drawing up the paperwork for transferring land from the county for a composting project. So I got a short spiel. Burying food scraps in the landfill generates methane and wastes the resource that could be composted to produce a valuable soil amendment. The city got a grant from the Department of Environmental Conservation to build composting trenches for this purpose, but for years could not find a place in town for the trenches. Last year, the mayor negotiated a deal with the county to put the trenches at the landfill, but the project engineer delayed things by trying to get an additional grant. This spring, the county offered to transfer ownership of 2 acres there to the city for composting. But the project's still on hold due to the transfer document not being ready. Could the city please prioritize the landfill partial transfer so that it's ready for the county highway committee's approval at its next meeting in September? We had hoped to get the trenches built this year before the DEC loses patience and stops extending the grant. Let's get these trenches built and stop wasting food scraps. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Chu?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. The city to seriously consider establishing a volunteer human rights committee to help address the injustices of Portland's vulnerable populations, including the poor, the homeless, people of color, and immigrant populations that are targeted. I thank you very much for considering this. Of note, Tompkins County does have a human rights commission, one paid person, I believe, but there is a volunteer committee that advises them. And also the United Nations has a specific program for human rights cities, large and small, just to help address injustices. And it might be something worth it for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Nichols?
Council. I come to you as a resident of the Ridgeview, Belrose, Hillcrest neighborhood. A couple of years ago, we approached the council, I believe, and state DOT about speed and recklessness on 281 through the city. When they rebuilt the street a few years ago, the speed limit remained at 35 miles an hour. That's excessive because it comes down to 3 lanes and then the 2 lanes are the exits the city. And the traffic is horrendous out through there, and as the neighborhood that has asked in the past, once again, I'm here to request that you explore the problems. Also, we would like traffic signal installed at Wheeler Avenue to control the heavy traffic turning off of Wheeler Avenue and Bellevue Hillcrest area. That's a busy intersection. You have Smith School down in there, we have the hospital. Tremendous amount of traffic. We'd like that taken a look at. See if we could once again ask the state to help us out, reduce the speed limit like we did out on Clinton Avenue, brought it down to 30 miles an hour. That's Route 13, we're Route 281. Second, when the state redid 281, they installed along the east side of 281 in the city, speed limit signs and weight limits. Wheeler Avenue, Madison. The other one, over West Main Street, I believe all the way down Groton Avenue, where it states clearly, when you turn onto those streets, the speed limit is 30 miles an hour, and the weight limit is no more than 5 tons. You turn into our neighborhood, there is no statement of the speed limit, nor the weight limits of vehicles moving through our neighborhood. So we would also like that addressed. Several years ago, about 15 years ago, the city did place it's a dead end street when you come up on the Ridgeview Ave. It's a dead end street. The city did add that sign, letting people know you're in an area where you're not going to be able to get out. So we would like those problems addressed. Appreciate any help you can give us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd also like to run for mayor, so I need you to annex my property.
We'll switch houses.
Because they won't give three, and they won't give them three.
I think it was just last meeting, you were saying that you lived in Cortlandville.
My house is in Portlandville, the street is in the city of Port. You plow it, give us water, you take our sewer, is there anything else you do? Right.
But we don't take your taxes. We don't take your taxes though.
No, I offered to. I would let it pay. Then I could run.
So, thank you for encouraging.
Just real quick on what he said, I want to say less than a year ago, brought up something about 281, looking at that.
Yeah, I wrote on my notes, amongst my extra list, I put on the notes about to address that speed limit to DOT and also want to read up again Tompkins Street. I'd like to get that reconsidered because that bridge is over, had been limited use on it, and with the increased traffic, I don't know if anyone's paid attention from Main Street back, coming from that, and it's really back. So
Yeah.
this truck's taking a lot of room.
You wait till they get Main Street open, people trying to turn the opposite way.
Exactly, so that truck traffic would be even more, so I'm gonna go back around it.
I'm gonna make a motion, we don't have next month's meeting, because Scott's got a lot on his plate after tonight's meeting.
Yeah, we're currently working on the railroad.
Yeah, but if you can make a note, I was told months ago that there would be one of those yellow flashing signs where, and across town, we have, where, close to Ashley. Yeah, right by the railroad tracks. I was told that DOT approved one of the yellow,
I will check into that.
there's nobody stopped it anyway, but
You're right. I will check into that.
I see people stop, I stop.
I stopped.
I
Some do.
think we need one by the hospital as well. A flashing light by that crosswalk, because people blow through it, it's, anyway. Anyway.
Agree. I really think it's some of these construction projects. But we will. So financial and capital grant reports, does anybody have any questions to receive and file those? Okay, motion to receive and file, Carpenter, Sullivan, all those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Mayor's report, Ms. Pinello and I, worked with the sales tax, working on a sales tax agreement with the county. It's very, taxing and I think, made some good progress, so we'll see what that, brings. Go backwards on their end of the table a little bit, bring it back, and we'll have something to present to council here. Road construction, it's been really, kind of terrible here in the last, couple days even, so we had a lot of, we had another storm hit since our last meeting and another cleanup effort, still cleanup efforts now. There's a lot of debris put out in your wards. This is the week that was on the calendar, to pick up, so they're catching up and getting that caught up. We had, Pendleton Street, it's kind of a disaster and mess up there. We had washout on the curbing not once, but not twice, but 3 times with a subcontractor up there, so we're able to get that stabilized today, get it all backfilled, because once you open the front side of that, the water was running down, washed up, released the granite fell over. Then all that aggregate went down to the bottom and created a big pothole slash cesspool at the bottom by the railroad tracks. So I got Sukota in there first thing this morning and they repaired that. We got the curbing all done, so that'll be out of there. That's being paid Thursday or Friday. We got rained off on paving today, so everything got pushed back on that. So Sukota is continuing on those areas. We had some more shout on Groton. And on the Stillman's ward, you know, anything with a hill was a real wash. We had just about, I think, every stream backed up from this last rain that we got. Down to 1.5 inches, I think it was, Bruce, what we determined?
1.5 by midnight and maximum rate of 5.5 inches per hour.
Yeah, so 5.5 inches per hour of rain rates, so that our storm drains can't handle that, so I know there's areas that people are, you know, kind of crying about, we seem to get a few of them this year. So I don't wanna make them the standard and norm, so I wanna make sure we test some of these other areas to make sure that's the issue, but, I appreciate Robin has been down at DPW taking phone calls and making those things happen. They can move along, and they've been doing a great job keeping up with it, but we have definitely been taxed and in every aspect from Mother Nature here this last couple months. So we'll continue on that. Main Street's moving forward. You know, I went out yesterday to go to a town council meeting on Main Street. There's people stranded. They couldn't get to their cars because they're surrounded by water and they're waiting for it to drain down. Fortunately, it did drain down. But we're getting towards that tail end of that. Feeling good about that progress right now. They'll start setting curbs next week, which is all good news. And certainly, hopefully we'll start seeing some turn of events on those construction areas. Fire department, you know, I had 30 storm calls that we responded to in 1.5 hours. Something to meet with the dispatch earlier this week, well, Monday. And they do a phenomenal job. You know, we toured your center and we did that, and I encourage everybody else to get a good understanding with that, include the media, get out there and understand what they're about. You know, they talk about being able to multitask. They do a tremendous job for us, as well as our fire department hitting every one of them, going around from brownouts to fires, to potential fires, to trees down, wires down. You know, everybody was working hand in hand again to make it happen, and you know. I really appreciate the rapid and efficient response on everybody on that. On the 25th, we had firefighter for the day. It was 200, even though it was the storm canceled the day one. We pressed it all, and with the youth bureau and the fire department together, 200 participants on day 2. You know, thanks Marathon and Ambulance, I believe, came out to help us with that. But we appreciate their efforts in trying to do that educational point. They don't always get to see people on the good side of things, so they were appreciative to be here, so we appreciate everybody's efforts there. On the 31st, and we had a major free on produce, and the fire department again helped assisted moving their product, make sure their effective coolers were to where they are so they could maintain the business. So we love being able to get out there and help everybody in the community and keep these businesses in order. So thank you for the fire department for all their efforts. Police department, we have applicants received, and those applicants were passed off to the police commission Friday. So they had their first meeting of several. I think they have a couple more scheduled later in evenings this week or next week to start reviewing the candidates to decide about interviews. We had 3 internal candidates and 4, I believe it was 4, will be 3 to 5. I'll say that external candidates that had put their application in. So we're encouraged with what the police commission will be diligently working hard for, and we appreciate their efforts in putting together the best applicants back to me to look at. Wastewater, we continue with a project over there that's expounded from replacing the boilers to replacing the piping. That continues on to some of the processing that's in the middle of the yard, as well as over to the plants for heating. We have had to tear up and go over top of some of the piping that's in there. So again, great concerted effort from wastewater, water department, DPW, and working together towards getting that exposed, working together to do that. Mike Slowing's helping us with some of the other facility stuff they have to do. So we're excited about getting that project done and getting the dirt back over that. I was visited by the Department of Labor, and that was how long was that meeting? It's 5.5 hours of grilling, so we'll see what that report looks like and we'll share that with everybody afterwards, only if it's good. So, well, we appreciate you doing that. It's great to have you back, Bruce. I'm glad it didn't happen when you were gone. So, after they came down there after an hour and a half, it's like, what's going on, you know, but 5 hours later, so. We appreciate that, so, I think that's what's moving on there. The youth bureau continues on. I think there's 11 days left of the pools being open. The cooler weather slows it down at the beaches in the park, but the gaming park was used a lot this year. I was pretty excited about that. Pretty excited about the being used. The pickleball courts have been just blown out. I went by there again after the rain, everything was dry and we're using it. Very excited about that. And got some great compliments on that project. So thanks everybody for that. Thanks for you guys, you two, for pushing those items along, and still, you owe me tennis, you owe me pickleball. So,
I see you practicing all the time, that's not fair.
so, I appreciate that, so it's pretty good. With that, I'll move on to the board reports. We're on Ward 1, so we're right to Ward 2.
Ward 2's been very quiet, and other than the curveballs that nature has thrown us, we're doing fine. Happy to hear that eventually in the fall, Groton will be paved, Hill Street's been paved, Prospect looks good. It's all coming together.
Got that spring out there that's destroying Velcro, so
Yeah.
so that's good news.
Yeah,
It's been out.
Okay, as the mayor indicated, he and I are working with the county and to negotiate sales tax, and that's moving along now. It's the county who will get back to us, and that's been fascinating, very interesting. Now, I want to thank the city and I want to thank DPW because the third ward got hit hard. Melvin, Forest, Glen, and of course the waterworks. And the city was there as the storm was still occurring. The mayor was driving around, DPW, the dump trucks, everything. And my ward was very, very appreciative of how fast and how quickly things were cleaned up. So that was really good. And then I'm looking forward to agenda item number 3 tonight.
All right, Ms. Lang.
The fourth ward's been quiet. I would also like to thank the mayor and DPW. We, had our 150-year-old Norway maple basically disintegrate on that Wednesday storm. And, I had called the mayor for advice as to who do I have clean this up. And, DPW, because of receiving FEMA money, were able to come and they did a wonderful job. And we got the rest of the tree cut down and we're waiting for that wood to go away. The last meeting, it was said during privilege of the floor that, the library did not allow, unhoused people to use the water fountain there. And I was pretty sure that was not correct, but I wasn't going to say anything. I went and checked with the new director of the library the next day, and that is not correct information. They, of course, can use the drinking fountain, they can fill their water bottles, they can't consume the water in the library because there's no eating or drinking, but they can use the water fountain, they can fill as many water bottles as they want. So I wanted to get that out there. Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, two items. One is a thank you for getting, Pendleton in some shape because it was in very rough shape. Past, say, 4 days. The washout of the granite, curbs was tremendous. I saw them when they were first set in. Everything was looking like it was in order, getting ready for paving, and the following day after the rain, all unearthed. And such a problem. So thank you for getting those things back in order. However, I did receive some complaints in the initial milling of the street, and I'm hoping that we can get some sort of organization around the cul-de-sac that's behind Pendleton. So Fox Hollow area, and Sunnyvale, in particular, one of those ends at each given point need to be open for through traffic. So just thinking about that, otherwise, there's no way out to the rest of the port for those individuals. Unless they want to go down the ravine, I don't think, Tom's ward would like that.
No, I don't think the landowner would appreciate it either.
People living there.
So that's it.
Thank you for that. Getting to Chief Nichols's complaint regarding the speeding on 281, it took me probably 4 years to get that resolved on 13. But there is a contact in Albany through Keith Van Gorder that used to work there. He helped me out tremendously. So there's a contact that they have to do a study, they have to go on and see what reasons why slow down the speeding and all that. But there's usually after a while, they get persistent. They usually do, justification for them. All right, so. Charles Street, one-way street, we've had a lot of people cut down, I believe it's possible signage. Get some more signage down on, Charles Street as to coming off of Grant. People are cutting down through there. I don't know if it's malicious or they're just being lazy or they're just not, they're saying the signage isn't that great coming into it. So possibly some more signs down there that would help tremendously. That's it.
Speaking on Bill, I didn't want to call on it also, but I think what stemmed that problem is we never had a problem, but then we made it 2 ways for a while, I think. People think it's still 2 ways.
And we're doing some work on Grant Street with the second phase of that's coming out again. So,
Just comment on Katie, she was pretty quiet, but I'm sure next meeting she probably won't be, because the kids will be back. We can't, we'll wait. And I'm encouraging the kids to get back, I'm gonna be go around telling swimming pools. We're gonna have all, we're gonna have a swimming pool party.
There you go.
I'm gonna round them all up and come to your board. We're gonna have a parade down to your
Other than that, I'll find the 7th one.
for that.
party in the.
7th floor.
Party in the seven.
All right, approval minutes, can I get a motion to accept the minutes? Tom. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks.
I'm off.
Who's time?
My favorite.
I just wanna piggyback on, Seth's comment regarding Pendleton. I don't think anyone expected, how that was gonna come out regarding those storms, but, I'm certainly glad that, we acknowledged it and we're correcting it. A couple other items, debris pickup, we were about a week behind and I'm starting to get, some concerns regarding, when it's gonna happen again, and it did occur again this week, so. People should be happy. I told them just to be patient and it was gonna happen, but, we're probably a little bit behind with, all the storm damage that, we were tasked with taking care of. The other thing was that, the mayor, myself, and one of our police officers, addressed a concern on the east end, regarding, some, residents, and, I wanna say that meeting went quite well. I have to agree that, I think we come to some kind of a resolution, hopefully that, the people in that area will, certainly be satisfied with the outcome. We couldn't promise anything, but we have, other people looking into, their concerns as well, so. I want to thank all those involved for taking care of that. And, that's all I have. Thank you.
So just to clarify a couple things for the public and for the older persons, this, why it's worded this way, it's the second full week of month that debris is picked up. That's the one we're scheduled for. And there is a count. So it is, even though, there's an error put in it is this week, but it should be next week. But they are picking up this week and we'll be caught up for the first couple of days. So,
Yeah.
but it is in the calendar and it is to do that. I think that's gonna be a great thing for Route 1. Grass clippings, which we hear from Alderman Scott all the time, but also when we pick up, people throwing their stuff in the creek that's behind their house. That's creeks flooding later and maintaining that. So we've seen some improvement and I'm excited that we're doing that. So we'll continue on that method. Sorry, excuse me.
Mayor, can I add something?
Sure.
I was at the town gown committee meeting, and they said that kids will be moving into the dorms on the 22nd. That's for the resident halls, and the athletes are coming back Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday this week. So
I did notice that there are traffic lights installed now at Broadway. They're not operational, but I suspect that in the next week or two before college comes back, that'll all be taken care of. So,
Yes, they will be running and we'll try to steer all the traffic and try to have some streets opened up so we can.
yeah.
Is that a city street, actual city street for that intersection?
Yes,
But they pay to do that intersection.
that's correct. They did it, they wanted to do better crosswalks.
And so the kids are actually gonna stop now and wait for the light to turn green and cross. I don't have a heart there.
Yeah.
Man, I swear that, the intersection.
They're
Solve all
They're
that.
not,
It didn't solve one thing.
You're actually supposed to stop for the kids.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't say go.
So,
That's a
we're
pedestrian.
excited about that.
The big guidebooks are in your ward.
I'm the only one who wanted the four-way stop and approved it and ran it once.
when we march to your board, stop at all the lights.
Oh, bring a swimming pool with it.
Moving on. Approval of minutes. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Lane, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those carried. Agenda item number 1, water sewer lateral replacement program conflict of interest disclosure.
Resolved that there is hereby disclosed to the common council and the public that Christopher Hotchkiss, who has ties to the city of Portland by way of service as an appointed member of the city fire commission, has submitted an application for $12,500 in matching funding through the city's water sewer lateral replacement program. And be it further resolved that the common council, on the opinion of council letter, occurs that Christopher Hotchkiss's participation does not violate city or state law, and that said applications may be accepted pursuant to established policies.
I'll move it.
Mr. Mel, Mr. Eckwood. Again, this person's a volunteer on board, gets paid nothing, so nobody has a benefit, but we need to disclose it. Any questions?
Yeah, my only concern way back when I had to have a section of my sidewalk and driveway, like, I was questioned regarding disclosing everything and made the point that I'm also a city taxpayer regardless of my position regarding city council person. So,
And it's, we're all awarded that, of the trees that we cleaned up in the night, all of this lanes.
Yeah.
We recognize and appreciate the input on that. Okay, move it, please.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith,
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
I,
Item number 2, create temporary position of special project.
Resolved that the common council does hereby create a temporary full-time position of special project manager for a period of 18 months, consistent with the job description and qualifications approved by the Portland County Personnel Civil Service Department. And be it further resolved that the position shall be filled in accordance with established personnel policies and procedures of the city of Portland and Portland County Personnel Civil Service Department. And be it further resolved that the salary and benefits for said position shall be determined in accordance with the city's compensation plan and approval of the city's personnel committee.
Okay, motion. So back with Ms. Silliman. So again, this is an effort, so taking the funds from the water department position that's in the office downstairs to help cover this in the 18-month period to work on a comprehensive plan, work on a strategic plan. Some of the biggest work we have to do now is with our downtown businesses is getting them occupied. Keep them occupied, changing people's culture to want to come back to downtown, coming back to downtown. That needs to be a full force effort to work towards that. And I think it's imperative that we make that as long, well, it's making a long-term plan to create a business development district downtown. Keep maintaining and come up with different events to create downtown and stimulate downtown. That works best for the part of it, instead of us spending that effort, then that creates it. So we the ultimate goal is to create a special tax district to be able to do that, so they can handle their own trash, the grease, the snow plowing, which is gonna be very difficult, recognized the way it is now, understood. To be able to have that, more beneficial to who the benefits are and to get their input. So this is a short-term approach to a long-term solution that has to do it, based on time availability and my time being maxed the most. There's no other position that this could fall under. So that's why I created a temporary position to fill that.
What happens after 18 months?
After 18 months, we will reevaluate if we determine it's still necessary or needed, and then,
I'm just thinking we should, if you're gonna advertise for this position, I don't see getting anybody for 18 months is my point.
but that would be their strategic plan to show that we need to do that.
That's why I mean, most likely this is gonna turn into a permanent position.
It could be, but that, I want to put a sunset date on it, so we're forcing that to happen.
No, it's a great idea, I just.
And marketing is an important part that we don't spend a lot of time doing, that's in the short term to doing it. Most cities have planning department, Binghamton has 8 people under the mayor to be able to help do some of those items. This short term will show us what needs to happen and, would not be a huge significant cost to the city to be able to do that.
And actually, we're saving money because by eliminating the vacant positions, this is gonna pay for itself. And you're gonna have money left over.
Yes.
With, education about downtown, what opportunities are gonna be to actually navigate downtown. Also, I'm not certain if that's gonna be in the job description, but I'm hearing some apprehension from community members, obviously around parking. Even though they're based on traffic, it's safer to pull out versus back.
100%. So there's a perfect example. Thank you for bringing that up. So we need to come up with create a huge marketing campaign about backing in out in the streets. Auburn did it when we studied their program, and they did a video and they did all this, but it needs to really be out there. Like go to Skinny-Alice, I drove through Skinny-Alice this past weekend, and people are parallel parking. That stops traffic pretty significantly. Whereas, it's not an easy sweep, for people to parallel, but all of Skinny-Alice is parallel parking, both sides of the street already have it. So, I mean, there are more difficult things. So trust me, there probably isn't, that's one of the biggest things I hear about is backing in.
Right.
Unfortunately, they don't allow it. And I also recognize the thing I'm worried about is people driving, instead of backing in, they're gonna go across the street and pull it. Now they gotta back across 2 lanes of traffic to get out. So like, should we ticket them, Do we warn them? How do we get them to do that? It's not really safe. I mean, currently now people pull in and everybody thinks it works, but there's a lot of accidents where both cars back out, hit each other. People pull out numerous times in front of the post office. So I get it, but again, case in point, where it needs to be educated, when we did the trash turnover, we didn't have a lot of time, we didn't have a lot of effort, we didn't have manpower to be educating people. Between that, we're setting up trash for all the municipality or other businesses downtown to be able to put them together in different districts. That we started that on Groton Ave, so we got all those businesses in that area to do that. But I'm just kind of putting it together as I fly along in between, and it all comes to my desk. The grease containers are sitting out in the grass, it looks terrible, the fence isn't up because I'm not finished with the design, because it's all on my plate. So it's like, so what do? We do wastewater design and a boiler, we go to, So I guess it's a good way to put that in place, a good way to have the community involvement, because we're falling down on some of those community communications, even up to and including some of the asphalt paving and some of those areas. So we're hoping that'll fill it. There's a lot of shoes to fill there, a big void, but I feel confident that we can get that.
Something to point out that we're actually being proactive instead of reactive this time. We recognize the situation is gonna possibly be a issue later on, so we're gonna address it early on and also alleviate some of the things that the mayor has to deal with. I spend a lot of time in the mayor's office every week. And I see how frustrated he is, trying to deal with this and that. I think this individual will certainly take a lot of pressure off of his shoulders. So he can focus on other things.
Like Mr. Dexter's list. Anybody else have any questions? Call up, Mr. Director.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith,
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 3, order removal of buildings on property located at 169, 171 Brown.
Resolved that the common council does hereby affirm the code enforcement officer's declaration that the buildings upon property located 169, 171 Grand Ave do constitute a danger to the health, safety, and welfare of the public and are unfit for occupancy, declares that pursuant to section 104-7 of the administrative code, the owner is found to be in non-compliance with legal notices and orders regarding a dangerous building, and hereby gives order that buildings on said property be removed.
Oh, I move it.
I'll second.
Ms. Solon, thank you. So sometimes I tend to neglect something and I just want to take a moment to recognize is our code office. Captain Everett is very diligently with his team. He's got a great team behind him and in front of him. Meldrum helping him out, trying to help with some of his legal. This is the first that this item like this is done. This is all within our charter to be able to do. You know, in my office, you all have been there and seen there's a map in my office and there's pins in that map with green, red and yellow pins. And thanks to the efforts of Captain Everett and his team, we've been able to pull those pins out. They probably come in and pull them out. I can't wait to take the map down and just see all the holes in it. But with that said, I think it's important to recognize that this is all done not out of, like this is the last resort. This is absolute last resort. The last thing I want to do is have a vacant lot. But, well, I guess scratch that. The last thing I want to have is somebody there before that. So, but the last, then the second last resort would be to certainly have a vacant property. But it becomes to a certain point where you get decades old properties such as this that are just becoming, dilapidated and holes in the roof, and trees growing through the property and sidewalks being lifted and not being maintained and with continual burden and cost to the city and to do it. So I appreciate Mr. Meldrum's effort to work with the code office, getting this to this point to come to us. This is one of several, but we recognize we start off with, I contact the insurance companies to try to work on people, then we work on homeowners, try to get compliance, try to help them out. What do you need? What can we do to help? As we do everybody every time, and we get a lot of compliance that way, which is important. Not with that began, but ultimately, we're not getting all of them. We're not getting there fast enough for where I said, but I do appreciate that. And sometimes Roy hears, Captain Everett hears me talking about the ones that aren't done instead of the ones that are done. But I just want to make sure to take that time to appreciate their efforts because it's incredible how much they've got done in the last few years. It's absolutely incredible. Very, very impressive them and very pleased with that. So with that.
Why does it have two entrances?
It's a double lot. It's a double lot that kind of goes around.
Yeah.
I know it's a corner lot, but I didn't realize it had two entrances.
There's actually between, Knickerbocker and there.
Yeah, it's around the corner of Forest Park down there.
Yeah.
It's like that for years to try to buy that. Nothing, nobody's been able to do it.
So there's been lack of compliance from the property owner and homeowner. I went back to, I could find Google Earth maps in 2008, somebody was occupying it. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Been a
It's
long
a nice lot.
And stop and go videos across the street, I don't know what that property is, but that's been cleaned up. We got that done, taken over local, and that's cleaned up. That was a decade as well. So we're able to save them when we can, be able to get them back into carrying people's hands, make it better for the community. So, but this one is getting beyond that repair. So they're expect a couple others that are in the last ditch effort in the next meeting, but we're going to continue to work on it. Anybody else?
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Definitely.
Councilmember Lane, Councilmember Thompson,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith, Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 4, authorized sale of youth bureau surplus equipment.
Resolved that the items listed below are deemed as surplus. Their sale at auction is approved with all revenues allocated to budget line A711045402. You'll see the items listed.
Motion. Mr. Beckwith. Mr. Michaels. So again, these items need to, they've been sitting around, we're trying to clean up around, all those buildings down there. Some of these are, usable still, and some aren't. Trying to get it maximize what we can and use it where we can. Ready? Please.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Park school update, Mr. Beckwith asked for an update, so we had, last week, we discussed that the last update, we had a not-for-profit and another developer that we were working on. Now we're down to the not-for-profits out, but now we have, 2 developers we're working on. And, the one is very promising, so my hopes are that we kind of push the line a little bit, hoping to have some kind of formal offer from them that I can bring to back to that Parker School Committee to have them review and discuss, have those discussions. And then we would bring it to the full board for resolution to absolve. So hopefully, again, let's try to be optimistic, but it seems like things takes months. But I'm hoping within the next 30 days, we'll have something.
We'll bring it up to January.
Hoping to prove you wrong, just like.
Before this.
We're playing pickleball in January.
So I'm very optimistic about it and I really feel good about it. And it's a great story and I'm excited to tell that story at a later date. Hopefully that
And
is,
speaking of something like that, seems like to hear something going on Homer at Platt.
yeah, we're at Plaza, there's good stuff going on.
Last
Yeah. You see that, yes, the planning board addressed that, so there's some good stuff going on there and as well as some of the other areas of the properties that we got in the awards, we're working on them, so. There's a couple other things too. that come along, too.
I think ours is getting close to on Homer.
Anybody else? Anybody else have any questions or amendment?
Just out of curiosity, is the agriculture land transfer on your list? On your long list?
Yeah, so that project, maybe AJ could speak to that, I mean, but it was, the county had waited too long, it didn't get, wasn't accepted. And they were shut down and then we recently found out it was over.
Ultimately, I think both the county and the city are on the same page, not point fingers, but traditionally, the seller of any property, whether it's municipality or not, drafts the transfer documents, so. I'm happy to do it if that. I think their body would have to approve those, deed and whatnot, before we were presented with it. For your approval as well.
And that's what last I knew, that's their resolution, in that resolution.
They have to approve those transfers.
So we need to light a fire under our.
I think everyone's on the same page and it's moving along, it's just a matter of legislature.
And they didn't meet last month, so their agenda is quite full this meeting, so there's another item which sales tax, which will be put onto the next item, so hopefully that will be put on there.
Okay, thank you.
As with everything. Thank you for that. I have a motion to adjourn by Mr. Beckwith, Sullivan, second, all in favor?
Aye.
See Pat bought Wayne a birthday cookie.